mi gente? Welcome to this podcast y bienvenido a este podcast, No Name Wrestling Podcast. Here with the craziest guy in wrestling, el loco de los locos a los locos, Joey the Kid, and the governor, the number one analyst in wrestling, la no gobernadora, reina absoluta de lucha libre en Puerto Rico, in all Puerto Rico. No, the one and only Miss Wrestling Fan.
Hello, everybody. And it's an immense privilege to interview today and to have Alexis Shannon, which is Pride of Wrestling co-owner, along with Robbie Joe Medina. How are you guys today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for having us and having me back, again, and having Alexis for the first time.
So welcome to our podcast, and I hope that this will be, the first of many, many more. So to all of our listeners and wrestling fans, here's an overview of what Pride of Wrestling is. Just very quick, Pride of Wrestling is a company of independent wrestling founded more or less in 2017, right? In Florida by Robbie Joe and by Alexis. And today, Pride of Wrestling is one of the most successful endeavors in the independent wrestling in Florida, bringing shows that covers, many times of combats, photo tasted, right? Grudge, steel cages, ladders and chairs, and so much fun and entertain to all of the fans. So I know that this will be an amazing conversation with you guys. And specifically, Alexis, I want to talk to you in regards to your points of views, your perspective, the highs and the lows of running an independent wrestling company as a woman, joining with Robbie Joe. So first, I really want to start this interview with showing you one video. Let me just check it out. Okay, share computer sound. There you are. You tell me if you see it.
All right, we see it.
Hi, this is Robbie Joe Medina.
Pride of Wrestling.
First of all, guys, I would like to thank you for following us in Facebook and different social media. We're almost at 100 likes in less than 3 days.
Pride of Wrestling was created as a new option in response to what is happening in the wrestling industry in the Tampa Bay area.
Don't get us wrong, we're a huge fan of what is happening right now in the area. But I would like to spice things up a little bit. Also, I've seen many of my Latino peeps making noise over there.
That was the first video that you did for Pride of Wrestling, right? How things have changed from that first video that you recorded with Robbie Joe in 2017.
Oh man, I have a lot more gray hair now. No, well, I mean, I will say we've certainly grown a lot and learned a lot, right? Of course, from then to now. To be honest with you, I haven't watched that video, I don't think, since we posted it, or a very long time. So you actually putting that into perspective for me, I kind of look at that and I go, wow, that was then, this is now. And also too, even how much more comfortable I am with being in front of the camera and promoting things and talking about the company and all those things. I look back then, I was like, wow, that was one of the first times he's like, okay, we're going to do this. And he has background in theater and recording and movies and that kind of stuff. So for him, it comes more natural than for me. And so then when he told me, oh, we're going to do this, you got to do this and that, I was like, oh man. But I've done it so many times now. I've been in this video or that video or done this or that. So for me, it's definitely more natural now than it was then. But yeah, we've come such a long way, and it really makes me think looking back and watching that video.
Yeah. And if you can tell me what would be like the biggest challenges that you and Robbie had faced just to keep Pride of Wrestling alive and successful in these 5 years, what would be like those biggest challenges?
Probably the biggest challenges that come to my mind is the first one is getting the word out there and letting people know that we actually have a wrestling company and that wrestling is literally right within the community of many different people. And for instance, even now when we're promoting our show in the area around the rec center, people will say, oh, I never knew wrestling ran there. I'm a wrestling fan. That's so cool. I didn't know. So no matter how hard you try And no matter how much you're out there promoting, there's still so many more people that you can reach that don't even know that there's a wrestling show, an independent wrestling show happening 5, 10, 15 minutes from their house. And they would love to go. And they're more than happy to go. And most of them, honestly, have never even been to an independent show. They don't even know such thing exists. They're like, yeah, I'm a fan of WWE. Yeah, I'm a fan of AEW. That's really cool. You know, what do you mean independent wrestling? Like, how does that work? So, you know, you go through the whole thing and explain. But I think that's the main challenge is, you know we have a good show. We know we have a good product, but it's getting people there and letting them know that there's a show there. Please come out and check it out. Tell your friends, tell your family, you know? So I think that was one of the biggest things that we face. Just letting people know.
And seeing maybe the trajectory of these 5 years that you've been working with POW, that will be like also the most proud things that you can think of in terms of having more people knowing what is independent wrestling. You know, that it's very, very good. So which one of you first said, let's do an indie company? You or Robbie?
Robbie. It was Robbie.
Okay. And what were your first thoughts in regards to that? You're crazy, man. No.
I was expecting her to say that. I honestly was expecting her to say, no, we're not going to do that.
I was naive by that point. I wasn't tainted yet by the wrestling business, I will say. But hey, I thought it was a great idea. You know what? We obviously, as most of us are, and as many promoters start out as a fan, right? So you're a fan, so you go to independent wrestling shows around the area and you see what's happening and you think, wow, I think I could do that better. I think I could do that different. I think this would be a cool story. What if I paired this wrestler with this wrestler? Like, so the only way to do that is if you have your own company, you know? So you can go around to independent wrestling shows all day long and you can see what you think they're doing wrong or what you think they could be doing better or, you know, you name it. But the only way you can implement that is if you actually have your own company. So that's, you know, I think that's kind of what prompted him to be like, hey, we could try. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So
yeah, it's like just putting the action in the words, you know, just saying that thing, but just making it happen. Oh, that's awesome. So you were a fan of wrestling in your childhood? You were?
Not so much my childhood. My story is a little different. I became a fan a little bit later in life. So actually my nephew was a fan and we started to take him to NXT shows and I was probably 17 or 18 years old by that point. So that's around the time I started becoming a fan. So started out with NXT and then kind of started, you know, watching Raw and SmackDown and that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. But and what about now? You are a fan of wrestling, right?
A little bit. I've grown a little bit apart from the bigger companies. I do still love and enjoy. Honestly, I tell him all the time, I enjoy more going to independent wrestling shows than I do watching AEW or WWE on TV. So I don't so much follow that too much. You know, of course, I see sometimes when he's watching, but I love to still, you know, go to a good independent wrestling show. For me, there's nothing better. So.
Oh man, that's awesome. Joey, you can jump in whatever you want because if not, I'm gonna just talk to Alexis for hours. Okay?
No. I'm having fun here. You're having a good talk there, you know.
And because I was so interested in just knowing what are your thoughts in regards to that, and I'm loving being here, just talking to you.
Good stuff.
Another thing, Alexis, that in that first interview that we did with Robbie, he said 2 things that were very compelling and powerful to me. And one was when we talked about the woman evolution in the wrestling business in overall. He said that you told him you cannot save a business that does not want to be saved. And that was so powerful to me. Can you elaborate why you think that?
So sometimes, you know, when you have an independent wrestling company, you have issues internally, you have issues with wrestlers, you have, you name it, drama. I will just say that happens.
We also
like
with CM Punk.
Like the CM
Punk thing.
Oh,
yeah.
And so sometimes Robbie kind of, I don't want to say like in a derogatory way, but he'll go down the rabbit hole of like, trying to fix it, trying to figure out why, and getting really like upset about what's happening. And then I get it, because we are putting our all into this company. We're putting a lot of effort, a lot of passion, you name it. But he'll start to like let it really get to him and really bother him. And I tell him, like, you're trying to save a business that doesn't want to be saved. It's so, sometimes I tell him it's so far gone, or it's going to take a lot more than just you to save this. That your mentality is great, and if everyone could have that, this whole independent wrestling world would be a lot better. But you have one way of thinking and they have a different way, and it's not, they don't want to be saved, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I came into that, was trying to get him to not beat his head against the wall, like, why are they doing that, you know what I mean? Like,
yes, you're right.
so.
Yeah. And following that line, maybe what is happening right now with CM Punk, I want to ask you guys, you did have this kind of troubles or issues with wrestlers, more or less the same that CM Punk is having right now? Have you had that in your company?
We have.
We've had, I mean, wrestlers come all different shapes and sizes. So they, you know, you have a similar incident, and then you have incidents that are completely different. But yeah, we've had all types of different things happen along the way, between attitudes and egos, and sometimes people's habits and all that kind of stuff clashing. Sometimes even, especially in independent wrestling, things that happen outside of our company that maybe happen in another company, but kind of spill over into our locker room. And it's like, they, you know, maybe certain wrestlers don't like each other because of something that happened over here or something that happened over here. But it's like, hey, that doesn't involve us. That doesn't involve our company. And so we're going to have to be in one locker room. We're going to have to get along. And that's just kind of, we're going to all have to work together. It's just how it is. So, and sometimes it's not that easy, of course. Sometimes you have people that that buck, and they don't want to do that, right? They kind of throw a fit about it. So it's like, I mean, you can't please everybody. So
okay. And how you resolve it? Just have a strong leadership, a strong hand with them. What are you? How you deal with it? Just fire them?
So we have a really good base, I will say. It's me and Robbie, and then we have 2 other people that work really closely with us that are a part of what we call the office. And so between all 4 of us, which I think is a good thing too, because it's not just him and I as the owners making the decision, right? Yes, we do make the final decision, but we have 2 other people that are involved that help us. So we run it past everybody and get their thoughts and feelings, because maybe they see it a different way than I do. And I don't want to make a hasty decision thinking like, oh, I'm just going to do this or that. And maybe someone else sees it a different way. So once we all kind of come to a general consensus, then we make a decision and act on it. And usually Robbie will be the one that's more involved with the wrestlers than I am. I usually do things more on the like I don't want to say administrative side, because I mean there's so many different things, but like on the making sure everything's put together, making sure we have concession, you know, stuff to sell, merchandise, taking tickets at the door, greeting people, helping with seating, all, you know. And he's more of the, you know, book the wrestlers, deal with the wrestlers, you know, do the music, that's kind of the dynamic. But we all are involved in kind of like the final say of what happens if there's an incident in the company, like what should be done, which I think is good. You have 4 people, because then you have a fair outcome. You don't have a biased outcome. So
running an independent wrestling company, what would be like the things, right? To organize the events, for example, what are your direct roles? Let me just give an example. You don't book the wrestlers, right? You don't look for the wrestlers, or you are part of that activity in an event. So
to a degree, I am. Usually, like the way we've tried to have it in the past is where I will reach out and kind of deal with the female talent more.
Okay, good.
And then he'll deal with the male talent. So and that's just to make sure that no one feels uncomfortable, no one feels like strange. You know, there has been times in independent companies where sometimes go ahead.
No, finish.
Okay.
I have a question about that subject. Finish up. Sorry.
Where like a female will feel like weird, like with a male reaching out to her, or maybe she might feel like there's an ulterior motive or something. So for us, it's a little more appropriate. Like if I reach out to the female talent and then he, handles the male talent.
Oh man,
So
that's awesome.
which there's only one or two women's matches, so I have a significantly less amount of females that amount of talent that I'm responsible for dealing with than he is.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of the answer to
Okay.
that question. All right, Joey,
Okay,
you're up, man.
dale, Joey.
I have a question about that. There's more drama in the female dressing room than the male dressing room.
Awesome question.
That's a really
Awesome.
good question.
No.
So I will say this. Luckily, like we try to keep everything pretty we try to keep our circle pretty small. So usually the drama doesn't infiltrate our locker room. But I will say this about females, and with all due respect to whoever listens to this female wrestler wise, it is so hard to book good female talent that's affordable because the supply and demand thing is just not there, right? Like the amount of females versus the demand, so like the price is like crazy. So no offense to any of them, but man, it does pose a challenge. And sometimes it's certainly not worth what they're asking. It's like, I
Good
need
point.
a female, but man, I'm not gonna pay that. Like you're just charging that because you're a girl. So yeah.
My-
Very
I didn't say that. That came
interesting.
from a woman.
I
So
said
You go straight to the point. Bam.
But I did start by saying with all due respect, so hopefully no one takes offense.
Sure.
No.
No.
That's respected. But you prefer, like you said, you prefer control small crowd of females than a large crowd of female talent. It's more easy for you to handle, right?
That's true. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Very interesting that the female wrestlers think they are God -1. I didn't know that.
They're like the
No,
best thing since sliced bread. Yep, exactly. They think like I don't have to be very good and I'll still get paid really well.
Oh, interesting.
True.
Very
It's true.
interesting.
there's going to be a match. There's going to be that it will not be posted on YouTube because it was really bad and involved women wrestling. And that's situations that happen that they said that
Mhm.
they are wrestlers, but you cannot call that wrestling. Sorry.
Robbie, you're gonna say to you,
Okay.
they sucked. Really, they sucked.
I mean, hey, okay. Again, there's good women wrestling, and we try to bring the top of the top.
Mhm.
And we do our scouting. We always do our scouting. We watch videos. If we can go to a show and see somebody performing, we will go and see them performing. I'll put an example. Years ago, when we brought Kylie King for our first anniversary, you know Kylie King. She's been in NWA. She's been in AEW. Now she's in Impact. Great talent. Great talent. And actually, this is the most viewed match that we have in our YouTube channel.
Mhm.
At that point, she was not known, and where she was pretty affordable. Of course, when she grows, she's going to ask for more. But she is a good talent. She's a great talent. You know how good she is. Natalia Markova, she's great talent. Super. She's right now one of the top independent female wrestlers. But she's a great talent. She has a great wrestling, and is entertaining. La Brava, the same thing. I will always put La Brava right there. She's just super. In many others, I mean, we have Persia appears. We have now Alexi Gomez. We have JC Love. They're great talent. And for the most part, we have had good wrestling. Now it is when you bring somebody that in that was my blame. That was me to be blamed because I didn't do my due diligence. I did not watch enough matches to know if this person was good or not.
Yeah.
But this day there was a wrestler that could not come. That she was announced and she could not come, and this other wrestler came, and she really came to wrestle. Said, well, I don't have a match for you because we're fully booked. And then I had this opening and said, well, we need you, And then when the match happened, it was a cluster. It was really bad. It was really, really, really bad, to the point that we tried to cut the match, and we decided we're not going to put this match on YouTube, because it's going to expose the company, because it really
exactly.
it looked. And I had that conversation with the guys from Trifulca in one of the episodes. We were talking about wrestling schools,
Mm-hmm.
and it's because, I mean, when you sometimes, and this is not happening only with women wrestling, it's happening with wrestlers in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going and performing, and there's people who are paying a ticket to see wrestler performing, this is not plain wrestling. This is not backyard wrestling. This is not a sandbox like I call other companies. It's not a sandbox. It's wrestling. You're professional. So you better, you play the part. You make sure that you're fully trained and you're good and do what you need to do.
And you have to really trust the person. Like, we don't. Usually the way people get booked with us is if they're referred by someone else, right? Like by one of the wrestlers that currently wrestles with us that we trust. So it's like, okay, hey, I heard of this person, check them out, they're really good. Okay, great. But other than that, like, it's hard to just trust someone to bring them in and trust you're going to put on a good match for my crowd that is steadily growing, and we're on the upswing right now, and there's very high expectations for us. I can't have you go out there and then me learn by you going out there that you're not very good. Like, I just can't have that happen. So I have to make sure that someone recommended you, that I know something about you, I know where you were trained, I watched some of your matches so I can see like how this is going to go, because I have to be sure that you're going to go out there and you're going to put on a good show, because every one of our matches, pretty much top to bottom, is a good match. We're past the point of having bad matches. Like that used to be in POW, few years ago, 2-3 years ago. That doesn't happen anymore. We have good matches. No one goes out there and just, messes the whole thing up. So.
And our crowd is very, very exigent too. They're very demanding. So they would tell you, oh, this match sucked. Because they would tell you. They will come to Alexis because she's the one that is in the on the front, on the ticket booth, say that match sucked.
That's the thing. I have more of a relationship with the fans than Robbie does, because he's more behind the scenes working with the wrestlers, doing music, that kind of stuff. I'm more out kind of like, I call it, once I get people checked in at the front and, the show's kind of running and there's not many people coming in anymore because it's already started, I'm what I call a floater. So I kind of just float around everything. Like, I check the ticket table, I go to concession, make sure like my mom, because my mom works concession, I make sure she's good. I'll go to the locker room, make sure they're good. I'll talk to some fans if I see, whatever needs to be done. That's what I'll be doing. And they'll tell me, they're like, hey, I don't know who that is. That's the first time I see them, but they're not good. And I'm like, thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Like,
sure.
I noted it.
You are the quality compliance officer of the company, right? Yes, right? You got it. And it's like you're saying, and I always say to Joey, it's not quantity, it's quality. And then when you got into a point that you got a company that you have been growing and transition to very good things in a 5-year period, you cannot have a chance or regret something in terms of a performing of a wrestler, because you're gonna be down. So I think that you've been in a position right now after 5 years that quality is like the thing that you have in your mind, right? And just to keep growing your company. So yeah, it's for me it's something very, very important.
When there's a bad match, it looks bad for the wrestler, but it looks bad for us. They associate that with POW had a bad show. POW had a bad match. They don't necessarily think like this wrestler is bad or they had a bad match. It's like a reflection of the overall company. So that's why it's so important that we make sure we know who's going to be, wrestling and what the quality is before we even bring them in. So.
Okay, that's very
Very
good. The other thing that I have, you don't have any involvement in the stories of the wrestlers
Storylines.
or doing some promos? Because I've seen you with Robbie just doing some promos in some of the videos. I know that those are short things, but did you provide feedback to their promos with the wrestlers, or it's just they just do whatever they want?
So regarding storyline wise, I have a little
Yeah.
bit of involvement, and luckily, like between the four people that I mentioned to you as the office, we're very like respectful of each other's opinions and
Okay.
ideas and stuff. So while that's not my main thing, I do sometimes put input, or I'll be like, hey, I don't think that's a great idea, or maybe this instead. It's not my strong suit. I will put it that way. That's
Okay.
like Robbie's like really good at that.
Yeah.
And so that's usually like more up his alley. But if I think like something could be better, or we always like try to run things by each other no matter what it is. So a little bit of involvement in that. And then regarding promos and stuff, I feel like I used to be more heavily involved in promos and stuff like that than I am now. Robbie's more of the in front of the camera kind of guy than I am. I don't mind. It's just it hasn't come about. It used to be the storyline was calling for me to be involved in the promos, but kind of now it's not so much. So who knows? Maybe there'll be another time that what we're doing may demand for me to be in front of the camera and doing promos again, and that's fine too.
You don't see yourself as a manager, as a promoter of wrestlers?
Me being a wrestling manager?
Uh-huh.
Oh man, I don't know. Sometimes people will try to even get me to wrestle, right? Like the fans will be like, "Come on, you gotta wrestle." And I'm
That's
like,
one of my
"Oh,
questions.
gosh, I haven't trained. I'm not a trained wrestler, So they're like, "Come on, you gotta do it." I'm like, "Calm down, calm down."
That's one of my questions, Alex. If you got the basic training with your husband Robbie, right? And then you make a storyline like one of your heel wrestlers comes to you and insulting you, and start making this feud, and you're gonna get involved with this. And how will you like to be your first match in POW if you make that happen?
If hypothetically speaking, if that ever happened, my first match would probably be against La Brava.
Oh,
yeah. It's what the
best with the best. The best with the best. Yeah, the best with the best.
There's so much story between the whole controversial thing against us, and it has to be La Brava. There was one time that Alexis almost legit breaks La Brava's arm in one of the shows.
Tell me what happened.
It almost happened.
Wow.
What happened? ¿Qué pasó?
Go ahead, you.
Please share the story.
Tell us.
All right. There was one time, many time ago. Remember, she's not a seasoned wrestling fan. She is casual. And Controversial Inc. has this back and forth with this other tag team. That this is when Controversial Inc. was the NGCW tag team champions, and they were defending the titles on different promotions, and they came to POW and defend. This is actually the first time that Controversial Inc. as Controversial Inc. came to POW. The first time that Carlos came to POW as well. And the whole brawl happened at the end. The locker room had to come, and we had to have both set apart and everything. And I jump on the ring, and then I'm telling them, get out. And I tell Salazar, when he's about to get out, I tell Salazar, vete el carajo. He was not expecting that.
Yeah.
And he just stopped going out, and he turned, and I said, oh crap. Of course I didn't say that, but you know what I mean.
Jodí.
Me jodí. So when he came, he gave me this like big push. Bam, and he just, fell, whatever, and I wasn't expecting that. I was with my glasses. If I'm going to be involved, I won't have my glasses, of course. He pushed me. mind you, Alexis is with her mom by the concession. The concession is basically walk, just
It's across the hall, so you
across
can
the
see.
hall, so you can see the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you can. So I am kind of her whatever, and the next thing that I see is that Alexis come towards me. She's not part of the whole situation. She was helping her mom, and then she comes towards me, and then she asks the referee, "Is he okay?" And and he's like, "Yeah, he's just banged up. He's okay." Okay. The other thing that is here is like she said, "Okay." The next thing that I am kind of, I have my eyes closed. When I open my eyes, I see that Alexis she ran towards like controversial ink, and she's like on their face, like this, and she's fired up, she's pissed, and then Salazar tells La Brava, push her, and La Brava and push her too. Alexis grabbed her arm, and I know Alexis is a trained MMA. She said she's a black belt. She's MMA fighter, so she is. She made me tap out, and I've been trained MMA as well, so she made me tap out. So when I saw that she grabbed her arm, I was, oh shit, and I just had to run to from the ring towards where they at, and I had to be involved because she was ready to like grab her arm and like snap the arm like legit, and she had to walk away, and she had to be like be out of everything for like 10 minutes, take a deep breath, because she was pissed of the whole situation.
That's true.
So
that did happen.
And that happened maybe like that happened maybe like 4 years ago.
And that was not part of the story? That was a legit pissed off, Alexis?
It was legit. That was legit. She almost, and because La Brava pushed her, she was not expecting that. It was like,
gosh,
don't involve Alexis in this, because she's not trained for this. She's not trained for this, and for your own safety, do not do this to Alexis.
Yeah, maybe you are not trained to be a wrestler, but you are an MMA fighter, right?
So Joey kind of asked like how you were kind of saying, how would I see a match going? I would see it more as like a brawl type of match, not a technical match, right? More like a brawl, like fight type of match, like more than technical wrestling. If that hypothetically ever were to happen.
And so you can see from the first day that Controversial Inc. came to POW, we always been like butting heads. And it's because it's a thin line, it's a really thin line between, fiction and reality. And we play with that a lot. So that's why you see all the times that Salazar will say, oh yeah, Robbie, you had to ask permission to your wife to do this. The one who had the pants in your house is your wife. And what you just mentioned before we started, that what Carlos said, that Carlos said that, Robbie's wife dominates him. He es un pendejo, all kind of stuff, because it's the whole thing,
But the funny thing, Carlos doesn't even know. Carlos just says that because Salazar says that, so it's okay. Anyway.
But let me tell you, I'm just seeing like a dream match in POW 30 or 31, just having you in the main card. That would be like awesome, let me tell you.
Very
awesome.
interesting. Mm-hmm.
That's what I've heard, I don't know. I'm just not a wrestler, but I don't know. Maybe one day it'll happen. You never know. Never say never, right?
Yeah, you are dangerous. Mm-hmm. You are dangerous than a wrestler because you are an MMA fighter.
There's any footage recorded about this situation that happens? I
think there's a match. Yeah, I think.
There's also another time that I had a shirt. Oh, an IWA Florida shirt, I think it was, and I shoved it into La Brava's chest and kind of it was a good heated exchange.
There was a whole situation with Controversial Inc.
They came wearing IWA Florida shirts or something.
IWA Florida shirt, like they are representing IWA Florida, and they were like pretty much. We had Jose Angel Mateo from IWA Florida like there too, and there was a whole situation going on between the two companies, and Laura was on Alexis' face, and Alexis just threw the IWA Florida shirt to her face.
Gosh.
So you can see she is being,
Yeah,
So
LeBron
there's a heat. There's a heat
Yeah.
there. There's a legit hit.
There's a lot of
heat. There's heat. Yeah, there's heat.
It had to be happen. It had to be happen. Sooner or later, but it had to be happen that match. And it's
That
very
would,
interesting.
that would be like awesome.
I need
Oh,
to
man,
go
they-
to wrestling
yeah.
training.
Yes, please, because we never know. We never know. Okay, in regards to the social media and the audiovisual content, Alexis, you do things in regards to that?
That's mainly Robbie, to be honest with you. He's a social media guy all the way. I don't love social media. I do what is it? I do check the post to make sure his English was good though.
Proofread.
That's it. That's
Okay.
I proofread his post to make sure his English was good. But he's more the social media guy. So
Okay.
I barely have any involvement in that, to be honest with you.
Okay, and with the audiovisual content, I know that at the beginning you were commenting with Robbie the matches. You were two commenting the matches, and now you got somebody who just do the el comentarista, right?
Yeah.
So you don't right now we are also out of all those things in regards to comentarista.
Yep.
You are okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay.
He's great. Sacramento is great.
Yeah,
doing
he's-
that.
Yeah,
He's
he is. That was something that in the interview with Robbie, I pointed that out because he's very, very good in how he comments the fights. He's very, very good. Thoughts of women in the indie wrestling business, for example, nowadays, what is more difficult to develop in a female wrestler? The wrestling capabilities or the ability in the microphone and the entertainment elements? What do you think?
I think it's probably their wrestling abilities, to be honest with you, because I think that just being a female and just having just looking good is pretty entertaining in itself. Like I think they can get on the mic and kind of not be great, but people don't so much notice it because they look nice, right? They're eye candy. But if you get in the ring and you're wrestling and it's a crappy match and you just watch the whole horrible match happen in front of your eyes, then that's more of a turn off for the fans than if you get on the mic and you're not very great. You can kind of fix it if you wrestle good, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And also their looks play a part in it too, right? If you look nice and you get on the mic and you're not great, I think it helps people overlook that. So I would definitely say it's their wrestling abilities. I feel like that's probably what's lacking in most of the female wrestlers, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right. And go ahead, Joey.
Okay, Alex, your opinion. I want your opinion on what. I don't know if you want to answer this because I asked Robbie this in his last match, last interview we had with him. Female wrestlers in social media, especially things like OF and other things in varieties of this style. So, what is your opinion on that?
To be honest with you, I mean, I don't love the idea of the wrestlers having that kind of content and all that because I feel that it adds to that whole ego thing of I don't have to be a great wrestler, I just have to look nice. And, kind of that whole entitled mentality. I don't have to wrestle well, you have to pay me well, I look nice, and that's all I need to do. Like, no, you still have to wrestle well, you still have to get in there, you still got to get sweaty and dirty, and you got to go at it. Like, you have to wrestle well. Like, let's not forget this is wrestling. This isn't a beauty contest. You know what I mean?
You got it. Yes, you got it. And it doesn't do any good to the company and to the business, really.
And we're a family-friendly company, too. So I feel like sometimes if you book those type of females, you lose a little respect from your fans. if like let's say a little girl is interested in a wrestler, right? Like she looks up to this female wrestler and all of a sudden she starts to see her posting kind of provocative pictures or things that aren't great, then maybe people don't want to come back, or the parents are less likely to want to let them follow the stuff. You know what I mean? So with our dynamic, it doesn't fit great into what we're trying to do.
Perfect.
Yeah, you're right.
Relating these questions, you think that women in the wrestling in the past, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, most of the 90s, there are more wrestlers than today's female wrestlers?
100%. Yep. Because I don't think that whole entitled, I just look good and I don't need to do anything else really existed. They really got in there and they wrestled and they were just like everybody else. That's how I see wrestling from then. Now it's just like, I look good, book me, pay me.
One more question, and then I leave Banner to the rest. One more, and I finish. I'll ask this question to Robbie. If you hit the lottery, you hit with, and you got your money for yourself you save your money for yourselves, but what kind of that money you gonna invest in this company?
I would definitely work on our branding. I feel like a lot of areas we have a lot of opportunity for branding. And I feel like I would also invest in some really cool, like visual effect type of stuff, like smoke machines and pyro stuff and lasers and lights and all that, like flashy stuff that makes it look so cool. Because to me, right now, like our entrance that we have has lights on it, right? And so for me, like I'm a big one on like these little details. I'll tell the restaurant, like, turn the lights off when someone's coming out, so that way, like, it looks cool, right? What's the point of having lights on the entrance if you keep the regular lights on the whole time? You don't get the same effect. So for me, it's like, turn the lights off, let the whole entrance be so cool with all, the lights like shining around, and then, pop the light back on. So I think that'd be where I would definitely put the money. And of course, bring some really cool talent too, right? Bring some even higher scale talent.
Yeah, that's very good. Those are the questions that I have for you, Alexis, during this night for this first interview. And I want to just close with one statement that Robbie also told us in the first interview, that I think it is like the sense and the objective of having Pride of Wrestling and being this company that it's different from the other ones. And it's the following. He said, I owe Alexis so much respect as a woman and as a co-owner of the company. So I think this is like, the closing statement that I want to, to give it to you guys, because I really, really respect you and how you have been working together through these 5 years is really, really amazing. And I envision positive and very good things to Pride of Wrestling. And I hope to be allá in Florida just to go to one of your events. So
thanks for your time, Alex, to be here with us and tell us your side of the story. And I hope you have a good time with us in this interview.
Thank you.
So go ahead with your social media, promoting your event that you're going to have POW 29 in the 9th of September, right? Next week?
Yeah, September 9th.
Just go ahead. Your mics are yours, guys.
Well, I'll close by saying thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure. I really did have fun. These type of questions really make me think and make me think back about the journey and the ups and downs. And it really was fun. And I appreciate your guys' time and the interest that you guys have in Pride of Wrestling and the well wishes. And I will turn it over to Robbie here. He is the social media guy. He'll go ahead and plug that for us.
Thank you so much, guys, again, for all your for taking the time to do this interview, with us. But yeah, you can basically visit us at first of all YouTube, Pride of Wrestling. You can watch Pride of Wrestling Full Blast. Now it's every 2 weeks. We are basically doing some stuff like our shows are now longer. That's why it's going to take more time to be posted. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram as Pride Wrestling. You can follow us at Pride Wrestling LLC on Instagram. X, formerly known as Twitter,
Twitter.
is
Yes.
PO Wrestling LLC. TikTok, we're also on TikTok, Pride Wrestling. So if there's and
Wait,
Threads as
See,
well.
I do know something
Threads.
about. Look
Yeah.
at that. I do know something about social
Yeah,
media.
Threads is the newest
good.
one. So yeah, Threads is basically same as Instagram, so it's going to be Pride of Wrestling LLC. So if you, we're being so blessed to being really good with the branding, and and also our website's a little bit like outdated. I had to actually work on that, but it's www.wrestling.com. So anything that has to do with pro wrestling, just Google it, pro wrestling. You will see great matches. There's going to be even greater matches. September 9th is POW 29 Under Attack. This is actually the show before the season finale. So there's a reason why it's called Under Attack. For those that has been following the story, we have the Gifted that they just basically serve me, and so there's a lawsuit right now that they want to go against, and now they are we're trying to negotiate what is going to happen. So that's something that is happening.
They were willing to negotiate when we were going to have our attorney take a look, though.
Yeah.
So that made them think twice.
There's
so
going to be some stuff because there's I have some talk with Julie. Julie's been helping me to get an attorney. So there's going to be an attorney on our side very, very, very soon, and you all going to know who is she. It's a she. So it's and it's going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, I honestly I want to invite everybody that is in Florida. Everybody that is in Florida. POW 29 Under Attack. Believe me, there's no bad show. And people they come for the first time and they say, "Wow, this is great." I mean, the overall is like, "This is great. I'm coming back." So
and you'll get to see me at the ticket table. If
yeah,
I'll be
exactly.
there. I'll be
Yeah.
there.
Hey, I say hi to people. I say hi to people during the intermission, and when I have a chance, So it's like if you buy the VIP tickets, I am the one who greet you, so you can sit, on the front, on the front row. So that's another, plus. So yeah.
Yes, you're right. And you forget something, and I got a surprise for you guys.
Oh,
Look at
nice.
that. Look at that.
Oh,
So
everybody, they get a chop.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you
it's
can
a
just
full
get
gimmick.
your church, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You can go actually when you go to PrideWrestling.com and you go to the shop zone, it would take you directly to the store.
Not
And,
to be confused with Chop Zone. Shop Zone. Not Chop Zone.
No. Yeah, exactly.
We're
Not shop. It's
Not
like
chop.
a shop zone.
There we go.
Yeah.
Están bien chulas las camisas.
Thank you.
I got
I
this
just-
one on.
I
This
just-
is the one I'm wearing.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's very, very good. So
order
thank you
mine.
again. I had a great time with you, and I hope that we can just continue to do these things because I really love to talk to you guys. Really,
We got
really,
plenty
really.
to talk about. So it was a great time. It was a blast. I appreciate you guys, and it's people like you guys that really do make us happy and all the interest that you guys have in the company. So we do appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Yes, very good.